HX35 Turbo, and a madman behind the wheel and a super talented driver. John is out of the sport, Eddie, I'm going to say maybe 10, 12 years.
It's got to be, well, I wouldn't, it's definitely close to 10 anyway,
years,
yeah. And, you know, there'll be a lot of it, and if you're joining us on the live stream, thank you. Apologies for the late arrival of our live stream broadcast today, but for many people in attendance, they may know the name. Many people watching online will be wondering, John McCarthy, I've never heard that name.
We used to call him John Paul McCarthy.
We used to call him John Paul McCarthy, one of the OGs of Irish drifting. Incredible. He was synonymous with that V8 underneath the bonnet. As we get ready to see Mark McKevitt leave the line. Score from John McCarthy, tops qualifying with an 81. A lot going on, Mike, as we welcome our live stream viewers, as Mark McKevitt now leaves the line for his first run of qualifying. We're about 10 drivers in so far. And John McCarthy tops qualifying at the moment, sets the bar with an 81 on the board. And unfortunately for Mark McKevitt, having some, I'm going to say issues potentially with the car. It just doesn't look to be hooking up right. Maybe struggling with the conditions out there. You can just see those wet and dry patches. Really treacherous for the drivers. Brand new build, of course, for Mark McKevitt, this car this year. Debuted at the first Drift Games Bash back in March, I believe. And since then, he's just struggled to get to grips with it, Mike, but a very capable driver on his day when himself and the car are gelling. But brand new chassis for him as well, and power plant under the bonnet for McKevitt.
Yeah, so if you are joining us on the live stream, it is quite patchy here. It's a little bit wet, a little bit dry. It's in between both. We just mentioned it there before live stream came on. It's the driver's nightmare, basically, conditions at the moment here at 360. There are wet patches, there are perfectly dry sections, and yeah, the drivers are struggling to navigate it. John McCarthy doing a good job, but everybody else seems to be struggling it, and Mark McKevitt there just getting a 13 as a result.
So here we go, a man back behind the wheel of his trusty 180SX after borrowing cars for the season. Fresh rebuild after a fire in Oman over at the OIDC competition earlier in the year. And Alan O'Loughlin, as you say, back behind the wheel of his own car. A man that's been in contention for championships in the past, and he'll be looking to finish his season on an absolute high. And you know what, give a nice shakedown to this new build ahead of the 2026 season, as Alan O'Loughlin fills the zones nicely and negotiates the treacherous conditions that we have here at the moment in 360 Park in Kerry. Doing a really nice job there, Alan O'Loughlin. Will it be enough to take down John McCarthy?
I don't think so, Eddie.
Don't think so, Mike, and that score drops in nice and quick. A 71.7 from Alan O'Loughlin, who takes fourth place from Jamie Hines. But what about that? A return from John McCarthy, and straight away out of the bat, Mike, an 81 on the board, showing no signs of any ring rust whatsoever after a prolonged break from the sport.
Bad dose, Eddie.
It's a bad dose.
The old ring rust, bad dose. But yeah, John McCarthy not suffering from it, that's for sure. Brand new build, Mark II Escort, something completely different, completely left field for drifting. And he just tops qualifying so far in these terrible conditions. Now, a man who might be capable of knocking him off, that's for sure. It's Kieran Casey with one of the craziest cars on the build. A little more typical build, I guess. It's an S15 with 2JZ power, but it is about 800 brake horsepower. And Kieran Casey has been getting better and better and better every event that we've seen him compete at, basically. But Eddie, once again, getting caught out by the conditions here.
He certainly is. You can just see that car just struggling to put down the grip in certain spots, Mike. And look, it's just cost him as he comes into the main loop. And just not able to fulfill that zone whatsoever. But you can see then the amount of smoke that car can create. So there are dry patches out on the circuit. And unfortunately, Kieran Casey just not able to find that perfect qualifying line, as we await the scores to drop in for Kieran Casey.
Are we using the same lead again? The camera.
And a 69.3 sees Kieran Casey drop into 5th position. So 5th position temporarily for Kieran Casey.
Yeah, so 5th place for Kieran Casey. John McCarthy still topping, and Luke Talley in 2nd position, followed by Conor Duggan and then Alan O'Loughlin. And yeah, Eddie, as we mentioned, you know, we've gone through a couple of Pro 2 drivers. We're in reverse championship orders. Some of these guys mightn't have the best championship or haven't competed in every round. One that hasn't competed in every round, it's a man after making the switch from the rally discipline. Well, he's still doing that, but he's tried his hand at drifting and should be very used to mixed conditions, I would say. It's Christopher O'Callaghan.
Yeah, Christopher O'Callaghan is not working out. It should be used to the mixed conditions, all right, Mike, but he's just not working out for him on this occasion. And as you say, his debut season of drifting, and very experienced driver, nonetheless, due to his experience in rallying. But as you say, just not working out for him. Just getting that entry wrong, and just the first section of the course just not really hooking up correctly for him, and it affected the rest of the run. So. Back to the drawing board for the second run. It's going to be for Christopher O'Callaghan.
Yeah,
very, you see a score drop in at 57. Yeah,
very accomplished rally driver is Christopher, but just showing how difficult it can be, to change disciplines and go to drifting and kind of come in punching hard at the start. It's you have to learn the ropes, I guess, a little bit, and it is a difficult ask in this track, in these conditions today.
Well, as you say it, Mike, the sun starts to appear from behind the clouds here in Kerry, and with that wind and that little bit of sun, we should see a dry track if we can avoid some raindrops. But Davin Leahy, well, he won't be worrying about whether or not the track's going to dry. He's only going to be worried about what it's like right now, because that's when he's out on the circuit. And do you know what? Filling that first zone very nicely so far is Davin Leahy. What a talent this young guy is, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. We can just see there that first zone is after drying up quite a lot, and it seems to hook up very, very, very much so at the end of it, catching a lot of drivers out. Davin negotiating it better than a lot. Drivers struggling a little bit. They're having to make corrections on the handbrake. They're finding grip where they're not expecting to find grip. Davin doing a good job with the V8 in this car, not hurting with that, Eddie. We saw Christopher O'Callaghan in the last lap. We heard a lot of clutch kicks and the engine maybe bogging down a little bit as it found grip in unexpected areas. Davin Leahy with the sheer torque and the sheer amount of cubic capacity in that LS V8 there definitely helps, because the power is readily available for you to get it singing again.
Yeah, well, it has helped him into first position with an 81.3, so he 0.3 points ahead of John McCarthy as he takes that top spot for the moment and sets the bar for the rest of the field to chase.
As
Mike,
wasps.
You're busy killing wasps, Mike, and we should really be protecting them, but save the bees and all that. But
I'm protecting you, Eddie.
You're protecting me from getting stung. As we go back to the start line, where it looks to be Adam Kelly getting ready to leave the line. Missed the last round in Bishop's Court due to mechanical issues with the car. Back on the grid here for the final round and making the short spin from he's a Waterford man.
He is indeed. He is indeed, absolutely. Not that short to spin, Eddie. We're quite northwest Kerry here, so we are. So yeah, we're North Kerry at least, and yeah, we're quite near the coast here as well. Actually, if you go a little bit west, we're on the coast. So still a bit of a spin for Adam Kelly, and he's having a spin on track at the moment. Hopefully not a literal spin, but he's having an old run, as we say.
Yeah, just not filling those zones as deep as we would like to see, unfortunately for Adam. And I think that's really going to see the score being relatively low, not where he's going to want it to be on his first pass of the circuit. So we wait for that score to drop in from the judges. Yeah, a 67 from Adam. Didn't get it right from the start, Mike, and from there it just, I suppose, when you've missed that first outer zone, it's not going to do you any favours with the judges. So it'll all be down to the second run for him as we go back to the start line, where it is the head of the household at the Davy clan. It is Nicky Davy on the line. He's going to have he has an expensive year every year. This will probably be the cheapest drift event he's ever going to have. But next year, I think it's going to be a big year for him, as I'd imagine some of the young guns in the family will be making the move up to the pro class as well. So could we see 3 Davy cars in the pro class? That'd be I think it'd be the first. Would it be if we 3 family members competing in one class?
Yeah, every dad's dream, every dad's nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get ready to, or he gets ready to take on this tricky circuit for the first time.
Of course, his son just took the Pro 2 championship, so yeah, definitely a huge talent in the Davy family, and a great family for Irish drifting at the moment, doing themselves proud by fielding 3 cars from the one household, which is crazy. So let's see what Daddy Nicky can do.
Well, unfortunately, Mike not able to fulfill that first outer zone. It's a long zone. A lot of points to be gained and lost there. Just not on the perfect line here, as you can just see, missing that second clip. Nice job now as he gets it a little bit deeper into the third outer zone before making the switch now into the big long pull to the loop right in front of the judges tower. Tags the wall nicely from Nicky Davy, and you know what, the end of the run certainly better than the start of it as he crosses that finish line. Nicky Davy don't think he's going to set the scoreboards alight, but it's going to be up there, Mike. I think it's going to be in contention.
Yeah,
for maybe top 10.
And if you have only joined us, guys, on the live stream, we did run through the points there on our introduction, but we will let you know exactly what's happening in the championship, because it's teed up to be an extremely exciting event here. The championship's still very, very much on the line, so we'll run you through that as we get up the championship order ready again.
So Nicky Davey jumps into third position with a 78, so judges liking that one. As Mike makes his 5th attempt at killing the same wasp.
I got it done this time.
You got it done. So a man on the line, Sean Watt, make it a very long spin for this man to be here today. But a man that's very capable. I'd say he's going to be not too happy to see the track drying out here, Mike.
Yeah, praying for rain always is Sean Watt. Fantastic driver when the conditions suit. His M3 engined BMW struggles a little bit sometimes on the wider tracks, on the bigger sections, but look at this, he's super intelligent at just making it work. Sometimes, as you saw there, has to dial off a little bit of angle just to make, use a little bit of momentum to get into the next zone, but he's very, very good at that. Doing a good job here in the mixed conditions, and that naturally aspirated power right on the wall as well. That naturally aspirated throttle response is what you want, Eddie, in the wet, and half wet, half dry, especially because if you find that the car is just hooking up a little bit, you don't want to be waiting for a big turbo to spool up. You want the throttle sharpen on your foot, essentially telepathic. So Sean Watt maybe with a little bit of an advantage in these conditions over some other drivers.
Well, there you have it, an 83 for Sean Watt. Sees him top in qualifying so far. Jumps into first position. One of the probably the better runs that he's seen in recent times. He's going to be absolutely delighted with that, Mike. And what a way to start the weekend for him, as we see the first and only female pro driver here at the Lucky Day Competitions Irish Drift Series. Mike, you thought you killed the wasp, and he's back from the dead once again. I don't know what you had for breakfast this morning, but it certainly wasn't your Weetabix. As Adrienne Wheatley leaves the line. Look at the line here from Adrienne. Once again, she's become such a really talented line driver. Straightens a little bit as she comes out of that second clipping zone and into the third zone, and in and out of it a little bit. Just some wavering from Adrienne. It's certainly a decent line, Mike, but yeah, she's just kind of on and off line here.
Yeah, it's very difficult
battling
here,
with
Ed.
the conditions.
Yeah, it's super difficult. Right on the wall from Adrian there, but it is super difficult, Ed. And even when conditions are really wet, you can rely on your spotter. If you've got a good spotter, he's watching everybody else. He sees where other cars are washing out. He sees where the other cars are hooking up a little bit. You can't do that in these conditions, because I guarantee you, Eddie, for every 3 laps that we see, it's different track conditions. The track is drying out, but there are still some wet sections and the water is getting dragged out by cars. And yeah, it's just difficult.
Well, she does jump into a tie for second position with an 81.3, so big score there for Adrienne Wheatley. She'll be delighted with that as she goes back to her pit area. As we move it along to our next driver on the grid.
Yeah,
it is one of the craziest drivers that we have in the paddock. It is none other than Dennis Murphy driving the Bandit Drifters 180SX.
Yeah, look at the speed from Dennis entering the first corner here and flings in the 180SX backwards into the first outer zone here. Big tire smoke now coming from the cars, fills up zone 2. And now you see the wet patch is still on the inside of the track. Just caught Dennis out there. Oh, and he wavers, actually drops 2 wheels, Eddie, while he's at it. Then you see tire smoke again. And through another wet patch there. It must be absolutely horrendous condition to drift in here. And it caught Dennis out, Eddie. He was just going too hard maybe for the conditions. And superstar driver Dennis just jumps into James Dolan's Bandit Drifters 180SX, arrives at the event by helicopter, I believe, jumps in, drives the car, gets the helicopter home, calls the Dinjos on the way home in Castle Island from this track for a snack box or a breast box, and yeah, then Dennis is just doing his superstar life, I think, in the jacuzzi for the night, and yeah.
What a lifestyle.
What a life, what a man. What a man. But yeah, a 0, unfortunately, for Dennis the...
Dennis the Menace.
Dennis the Menace, exactly. Owen Magner, the man from Kilflynn in County Cork, right basically a stone's throw from James Dean's house and up the road from the Shanahans. As we always say, there is definitely something in the water there. One of the guys who has been an up-and-coming driver with Dennis Murphy's old engine here, old car, in fact, the SR22 180SX. So maybe not the best year mechanically for Owen Magner here, Eddie, but huge potential with this guy.
Huge potential. I mean, he's one of the highest rated drivers on the grid in terms of, potential. We haven't yet had an opportunity to see it. He's kind of got that Dwayne McKeever bad luck with mechanicals this year, and it's denied us and him the opportunity to see just exactly what it is he's capable of. And you can just see battling again with those conditions, coming in on and off the line, just can't get onto that perfect line. Unfortunately for Wagner, not going to be the run he was looking for on his first pass of the circuit, but he does have it in the locker to pull out all the stops on his second run.
Sounds a little bit slow to spool up there, Eddie. I'm not sure if you noticed it, or maybe I'm picking up on something that's not there, but it just sounded a little bit slow to get going. The turbo seems to be building quite slowly. I'm not sure if he's got an issue there.
Yeah, and it would, I suppose, explain some of the issues that he had trying to keep that car on the wide line around the circuit. So yeah, perhaps some issues, unfortunately, for Owen Magner, but he does get a 64.7, sees him into 12th position for the moment. So score on the board crucially, and with only 40 drivers on the grid, Mike, any sort of score here could get you through.
It could indeed, Ed.
We could see some zeros because of the conditions. We could see some low scores, and we've seen some already. So it could be, time to just have a look at the car and rectify those issues. As Jason McInerney leaves the line, did manage to top qualifying early on in the season in Watergrass Hill, I believe, and he'll be looking to try and repeat that feat here this weekend at the final round here in 360 Motorsport Park in Kerry. Yeah. This run's certainly not going to do it though, Mike.
No, it's not, but I did have a chat with Jason there last week, just at work at Group D, and he was right on the wall from Jason there. Beautiful line on the wall, but maybe not a perfect one. Jason actually finding that due to some door rubbing earlier in the year, basically he realised just before this run that he actually had a front coilover bent significantly. Damper and bottom mount were both bent, and he thought that the car was handling a little bit unusually for him, doing things that he didn't expect. Found the problem with it, and I did hear reports that yesterday that he was absolutely on it in practice, so we might see a better second run.
Yeah, well, a 68.7 is enough for 10th position for the moment for Jason McInerney, and of course we're not going to see those perfect runs from these drivers with these tricky conditions. Now the next man on the line, it is Johnny the Falcon Flynn from Mount Falcon, and he gets ready to go. One of the coolest cars on the grid, Mike. Love this livery. Do you know what? He's a great guy. He's actually a very talented driver as well. Former Pro 2 champion, and mixing it up in the Pro class now for the last couple of years, and on his day, well able to perform and get this car around the circuit. As you say, Mike, we're not seeing the best of these drivers at the minute with the conditions out there. But Johnny doing a good job getting that car around. No major mistakes. Could be a little bit deeper in some of the zones, but, I think we can say that for all of our drivers so far. As Johnny looks to complete that first run, I think he's going to be happy enough with that. No major issues there. Could have been a little bit neater here and there, but solid first run from Johnny Flynn. It's going to be a score on the board and probably be enough to secure him a spot in the top 32. So we'll be able to push that a little bit harder on the second run as we wait for that score to drop in.
Johnny doing better than most there already with the conditions, and I think we're starting to see an almost fully dry line now. Yeah,
and a 79.3 for Johnny Flynn. So Johnny Flynn right up the order there, jumps into 5th position just behind John McCarthy, and he is well in the mix here now for a spot in the top 32 as Paulius do the dishes leaves the line.
Wow, Paulius do the dishes judicious.
And Paulius, nice line into that first corner, Mike. Really good job there from Paulius.
Yeah, just left it a little bit early there, but a nice intro, I agree, Eddie, for sure.
Really difficult to just maintain the deep line in that zone all the way through it. So, did maybe pop in and out of it a little bit, but certainly difficult to see from our angle. But this is shaping up to be a really nice run from Paulius as he looks for that wide line once again that the judges are asking for, fulfills it as he comes by the judging tower. Gets back hard on the throttle, and I mean it's a pretty full throttle track the whole way through, but Paulius doing a really nice job throughout. Will the score reflect what we perceive to happen out on track? Well, it is a 74.7 for Paulius, jumps him into 8th position. So judges being a little bit strict, not handing out too many scores in the 80s so far, but of course we are working in reverse championship order, and it will be Darrell Barnett, the next driver, to take to the circuit for his first pass for his first run of qualifying. In his JZ Power D46.
Speaking of reverse championship order already, this championship is very much on the line today, so it's going to get super exciting as we go up the championship order. Now, Darryl Barnett, a man, I spoke with him there on the practice grid. He's psyched. His experience, I think, is going to help him quite a lot with these conditions. Look at that. He just makes the handbrake drag there work for him a little bit. Maybe not a perfect outside line, but no big, huge waivers. Did sacrifice the zone a little bit, maybe. Now he's back on the outside line, doing a little bit better that time, and gets it right out to the wall here, right in front of us in the tower. And Darryl Barnett with JZ Power in the E46. Maybe not a perfect run, but in the conditions, Eddie, if you're going to push that hard, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, and look, Darryl's going to be pushing hard because he sits just outside 14th position in the championship, just outside that top 10. He'd love a top 10 finish, and that's what he'll be pushing for. That'll be in the back of his mind as he every time he goes out on circuit today, that's what he's going to be thinking about. Can I get that top 10 finish? It's a 69 on the board. That drops him into 12th position, just behind Kieran Casey, as we turn our attentions back to the start line. Well, if you're not familiar with the name, Dylan Garvey, former Drift Masters driver on the grid.
Winner of the last round, Eddie.
Winner of the last round as well, which was his first round in the car. Brand new build. Incredible amount of work's gone into this car over the last 2 years. And Dylan Garvey, well, no championships to worry about, Mike. He's here just for his own agenda, which is seat time and preparation for next year's championship and adding another trophy to the cabinet.
Yeah,
this is a man that the two in championship contention are going to want to avoid. And look at this. This is why. Perfect line. Rides that outside line. Conditions don't matter. Did break a half shaft in practice yesterday. But Dylan Garvey is absolutely on it. What a talent he is. And what a run that was, Mike.
Yeah, what a run. And you said there, Eddie, that the two guys, Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever, are going to want to avoid Dylan Garvey like the plague in the top 32 bracket, because we called it yesterday. We said that this is the guy that could upset this championship running, because he is as good as anybody on his day, Eddie, and he's shown that.
He certainly has. Well, with a score like this, drops into first position with a 90 dead for Dylan Garvey. Mike, we spoke about the championship race. Qualifying here is crucial for our top two to have a hope of securing that championship later on today. They need to avoid the big names, but they also need those valuable points. 16 points in the difference, up to 11 points up for grabs for highest qualifier, and they want to be avoiding the guys like Dylan Garvey and his brother David Garvey, who leads the line for his first pass of the circuit. Can he outdo the younger brother? Well, doesn't look like it's going to be based on the line through the first section. Does get one wheel into that outer zone, Mike, but he's just riding that line, not as deep into it as the judges would like to see, as he makes the switch back now into that second outer zone. Fulfills that a little bit better. Not a bad run here from David Garvey, but just in comparison, say, to the run we've just seen from Dylan, maybe just not up to scratch.
Yeah, well, it's very hard to follow Dylan Garvey, especially when he's your brother. There's no pressure there, Dave. No pressure whatsoever. Your brother just laid down a 90 in mixed conditions here in Kerry. But David Garvey there, fantastic build, beautiful car, and himself and his brother with new cars towards the tail end of this season, and doing well in both of them, Ed.
Certainly is, and jumps into 7th position with a 79.3. Well, tied 6th with Johnny Flynn. So, sorry, excuse me. 79.3.
Absolutely. So we move it along to, speaking of Drift Master drivers, Eddie, it is Fionn Roach, not in his GT86, but in his Irish car, the S14.
Yeah, his S14, a very capable car as well, Mike. A very capable driver behind the wheel. And again, another one of those drivers that the top two in the championship will be trying to avoid. Fionn Roach, he's got no pressure on him here this weekend. Jack Shannon in the pits, probably spotting for him and wrenching for him this weekend. He's got a lot of his own experience, but he's got a lot of experience helping him here as well this weekend. And he's certainly coming for it, looking really good through those first couple of sections, as you would well expect from Fionn Roach. Fills that second outer zone nicely. Does he drop a wheel maybe over the line?
Look at the tyre smoke we're getting now though, Eddie.
Yeah, really starting to dry out. As you can see, score is starting to ramp up a little bit. But you know what, these guys well able to deal with the conditions as well, as Fionn Roach hard on the foot brake as he comes past the judging tower just to try and reset that car and gets it across the line nicely. And another strong run from Fionn Roach.
Yeah, I can never get over, when you see it on live stream it looks so slow, but then when the cars pass you here they're going so much faster than it looks on live stream.
Yeah, well, it was a fast score as well for Fionn Roach, an 85.3, so not quite up to the scratch of Dylan Garvey, but certainly those scores starting to creep up. Track starting to dry. We're moving up in the championship order. We're moving it on to a man who will be gunning for a top 10 spot. He's inside the top 10 at the moment, his end of lines, but he's going to want to stay there, and and there's going to be a lot of pressure to try and perform here this weekend. It is none other than End the Lines.
Yeah, let's see what the Galway native can do in the beautiful red 180SX, self-sponsored of course, in the mechanic there. Lovely entry from in there. Could be a couple of feet wider if we're going to get technical now towards this pointy end of the championship, but the line is drying out. The drivers will be glad to see that. They practiced in mostly dry conditions yesterday. In the now missing all of that outer zone on the second
those
hairpin.
conditions catching them there, Mike, as you were saying about the drying conditions, and it seems to be for a lot of the drivers into that second outer zone, and just as they come up by the judging tower, as we saw another wheel drop there from End the Lines. It's still quite a good run here, but it's not going to contend for top spot, but will it put him up the order and in the mix? That's going to be what's important for him. And as we say, the higher up the order tends to be, not always the case, but tends to give you the easier run through top 32, top 16, top 8, and it's a 72.3.
And as you mentioned, Eddie, so important in what we're looking at today with this championship at the top. Championship points available for qualifying, 11 for the win, 10 for second, 9 for third, etc. So qualifying is so important, as well as getting that theoretically easier battle draw in the top 32. You do pick up championship points with a high qualifying position.
So next to make it to the line is a man who's been a great help to me in the last couple of rounds, solving a lot of electrical problems for me, Ben Rogers, who again sits inside the top 10. He said, no championship concerns, Mike, so you can come here, have a good time, hope for a top 10 finish, which would be a pretty big result for Ben in his rookie season in the pro class.
And it's a nice place to be, Eddie, hanging around the top 10 of the pro class. You're thereabouts, you're in a really respectable position, but you're not too worried about, I have to get a result here. And this track, I've spoken to all the drivers, to be honest, and they all, it's a fan, or it's a driver favourite.
Yeah.
It's a driver favourite track. The big elevation changes, the banks on the corners, everybody seems to love it. The wall run here right in front of the tower, right underneath the judges' noses, and drivers having great time here, and envying Ben at the moment, having fun out there on track.
Yeah, it looked as though Ben maybe came off one of those zones just a little bit too early, but managed to make it work, just got the foot down, kicked the clutch, and a really talented driver is Ben. Can he contend for that top spot? Oh, he narrowly misses out, Mike. It's an 86.7 for Ben Rogers, jumps into second position, and we've spoken about him as being a future star. Well, he's certainly showing his capabilities, and again, another driver some of those top contenders will want to avoid in battles. As we return our attentions now to the line where Jack Mulwiney, back behind his trusty E46, looks to take on his first pass of the circuit, and it's a nice line through that first section. And again, another driver with a lot of talent behind the wheel, Mike.
Yeah, definitely showed it very much to us, as we always speak about at Bishop's Court in round 2 in the 20 valve A86, taking it all the way to 4th position in pro in the wet conditions. That was enough for me to basically understand that Jack Mulwiney is a top driver. And back in his own car after a slew of borrowed cars recently, and looking comfortable. Eddie.
Yeah, that was a really nice run.
Perfect,
really nice run there from Jack Mulwiney. As you say, Mike, not perfect. Very hard to be perfect in these conditions. But again, it's going to be right up there. Will it contend for top 3, top 4? It's enough for top 4. An 84.3 from Jack Mulwiney. These scores really starting to creep up. Track conditions starting to improve. Starting to see a little bit more grip out there as we go back to the start line where it's young Jack Caldwell. I'm sick of seeing all these young guns, Mike, because they're making me feel old, and the level of talent that they have is just incredible. But we talk about the talent in this grid and the future of Irish drifting, well, it is strong with the likes of Jack Caldwell on the grid. Again, really strong. Just what you'd expect through that first section in his pro rookie season as well, right up the order in the championship.
Great line so far there.
Really good line so far, Mike.
Brake to just extend the drift in into zone 3. Maybe not perfect though. It's catching out quite a lot of drivers. I think they need a little bit more commitment into zone 3, and they don't think that the grip is there.
What impresses me though, Mike, is how they adjust to that. So they only find out as it's happening, and yet they make the necessary adjustments and still manage to make it work. Looks like a little bit of a drop of a wheel there for Jack Caldwell. Not sure it's going to hurt the score too much. Still think this is going to be right up there and should see him into the 80s. And it's an 89, jumps him into second position. Only one driver able to score in the 90s so far. It is none other than Dylan Garvey, but Jack Caldwell going very close. An 89 for him, taking second position from Ben Rogers, who sits in third now on an 86.7. Fionn Roach on that 85. Jack Mulwiney on the 84.3 rounds out your top 5. But we've got some big names still to come. Jakub Kuzczek almost did the double last year, Mike. Almost took down the Pro 2 Championship and the Pro Championship, but fell at the final hurdle. He's got no pressures to the championship this year, but he does have a shout for top 3 in the championship if he can put in a big performance, but it starts here with his first run of qualifying. What can the Polish driver do? The flags are flying, as always, for Jakub with 720.
Yeah, he said that he was coming here to take down the big guns. He wants to meet Harry Kerr or Dwayne McKeever in battle, he said, and he's going to take them down. If he does so, let's see if he can back up his claims here, Eddie. He's doing well so far, carrying a bit of commitment into zone 3 there, but once again another driver getting caught out a little bit by the seemingly extra grip that is down there on track. Maybe if your spotter is watching that, maybe tell your driver, if you're spotting for one of the top 5 guys here, or the top 4 guys still to run, to maybe give it a little bit more beans into zone 3. But Kuba then doing a very good job overall, Eddie, and zone 3 there catching.
Yeah, really nice run from Kuba, and an 87.3 puts him right into 3rd position. So they really are fighting for these top spots, and another man that will be fighting for it is Dean Byrne.
Yeah, big alternator problems, I believe, in their van on the way down here. So on the Friday night. So a difficult weekend for Dean Byrne. I'm not even making this up, Eddie. It's not a Fast and Furious quote, but he blew the wells on his intake manifold as well yesterday.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry about that, Ed.
But, you got there first, that's okay, but he'll be hoping to have none of those problems.
Too much NOS.
Yeah, too much NOS. But as I said, better to have those problems in practice than in competition. Dean Byrne, look at the line here from him. He's really starting to come into his own here in this championship, and developing as a driver and progressing, and really feeling the confidence from that podium earlier on in the year. And again, another driver who's going to be contending and pushing for top 3 in the championship here this weekend. It would be a real dream end to the season for him. Only his 2nd season in the pro class, if I'm not mistaken, Mike.
Yeah. And
really starting to show that he has signs of, potential championship material.
Well, he's in 5th position right now, Eddie, and he's still, in terms of, he's not a literal rookie, but he pretty much is in terms of the pro class, and he's showing what he can do, Eddie, and he drops into...
Well, it's 4th position with an 86.5. Sorry, 5th position was tied 4th with Ben Rogers with that 86.7. As we go back to the line to see Stephen Halferty. Well, problems with his new 2JZ build, so he's back in the trusty E36 M3. 1.8, I believe, actually, be underneath the bonnet of this, so it's a mere 113 brake horsepower.
Yeah, absolutely, Ed. Just about able to spin the wheels, I think.
Yeah, not sure how he manages on semi-slicks, but just the level of talent that Halferty has. Not what he would have wanted coming into the final round. Maybe not, the work concerns of chasing for a championship, but obviously would love to, it would be a dream to finish inside that top 3. And at least he had plenty of offers of cars over the last week to try and get him back out, but he's stuck with his trusty E36 M3 that he knows so well.
Look at him making it work, Ed. Maybe not after the tower here, but up to that point, how impressive was it just making it work? You need legs in this track. It's a little bit bigger than it looks on the live stream.
Yeah, well, the God's given him that extra little bit of horsepower with a big downpour of rain here. So any hopes of seeing a dry track, or any concerns of having a patchy track for our drivers, well, that has been purely put to rest. But Eddie, this is huge, Mike.
The drama building up to the top 3 drivers here who are going for this championship, Ed. Could you write it? I mean, it is to get dry here around 2 o'clock, for we will have dry battles, I believe, according to the forecast. But Eddie, we've got 3 drivers left, and they are the guys going for the championship podium, and it is absolutely bucketing down rain here all of a sudden, and qualifying is going to come into this championship fight. Yeah, I mean, you might get lower scores in the rain here. We might see higher scores because it's a little bit more consistent. But Ryusei Kiba here, all the way from Japan to compete back here in County Kerry at 360 Motorsports Park. Of course, IDS sponsored this year, guys, by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull, making Irish drifting possible. And thank you so much to those guys. And thank you to Ryusei for travelling over and back from Japan, Eddie. And he's missed some rounds, and it just goes to show his consistency and skill that he's still in the top 3.
In the top 3, yeah. And just in case, because I think my mic came in and out there, just Stephen Halferty on a score of 80.3 sits in 12th position as we get ready to see Ryusei Akiba as he makes his return. Wipers in full swing here.
The Japanese drivers tend to go quite well in the rain, Eddie. Their climate is relatively similar to ours, I believe, and sometimes you see some drivers from drier climates really struggle in the rain. You see some guys in FD that can't really do it when it rains, and the Irish and some of the European drivers tend to have an advantage there. Ryusei Kiba, I think, is going to be quite at home in these conditions.
Yeah, he certainly will be. And, one of the things I'm eager to see is can he, he's quite synonymous with being a very, stylish driver. Will he be able to maintain that style and utilise it even in the wet conditions and secure a big score for himself?
Well, Eddie, I think he has it in his locker. He's very, very much impressed us every time we've seen him, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out, Mike, as he gets the go from the marshals, gets ready to leave the line, and goes quite tentative into that first section. That's the experience, Mike.
That's a great job, Eddie. That is a great job done there by him. He just got it absolutely spot on for the conditions. Very, very tricky to go out. You've got no datum to work from the driver that just went before you, and a great job there for Ryusei Kiba.
You have to remember, Mike, he would have been coming to the line with that car set up for patchy conditions. Now it's full wet, so whether or not they've had an opportunity to reduce tyre pressures, change the setup to soft settings on the back, not sure, but whatever way you look at it, Ryusei Kiba is coming here to play this weekend, wet or dry.
Wet or dry, Eddie, he is here to play, as you said, and top 3 in the championship, and we are looking at the pointy end right now. Ryusei Kiba.
Yeah, score drops in. It's an 83.3, so big score for Ryusei. Only enough for 8th position, but crucially inside that top 10. And this is what's important there, Mike. Ryusei Kiba not occupying one of those top 2 or 3 spots in qualifying. If he doesn't improve on that, and the likes of Harry and Dwayne do get up there or fall below it, they could see a very potential difficult top 16, top 32 battle with the likes of Ryusei, and that could be, crucial to the championship as Dwayne McKeever, second place in the championship, leaves the line. And look at this, absolute masterclass, wet or dry, no problem to McKeever in the Strom wheels S15.
Yeah, and Eddie, qualifying coming hugely into this. If Dwayne McKeever, I believe, out-qualifies Harry Kerr by 2 positions, and he was to beat him in the final, it's a tie at the top of the championship, am I correct?
That'd be a 1-point win if he qualifies him by 2 positions.
2 positions, sorry, my apologies.
We'll go through that. We'll keep you updated with that as it goes, though, as Dwayne McKeever. Well, you know what, Mike? What a run. I was watching it there from Dwayne McKeever. It just doesn't seem
to the top end.
It certainly does, and it just doesn't seem to phase him at all. It's an 89 for Dwayne McKeever. Sees him tied in second position with Jack Caldwell as Harry Kerr now leaves the line. The marker has been set down. This is crucial. It's only the first run of their 2 qualifying runs, but the marker has been set by Dwayne McKeever. Yeah, Harry Kerr's got to go for it here.
The Kerminator, the man all the way from Ballymoney in Northern
Ireland. I love
Ireland.
that, the Kerminator.
The Kerminator. I saw that on Snapchat. I was like, I'm stealing that one and claiming it. But fantastic. Very obvious nickname, actually. Disappointed we didn't think about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of feel a bit let down with myself.
Yeah, exactly. But look, we'll steal it, we'll rob it. And credit to whoever came up with that one. But the Kerminator from Ballymoney, he can win this championship, Eddie. It would be a dream come true for him and the family. And it's in his hands, Eddie. He's leading the championship. If he can put in a very big run here, he sounds a bit short geared there. He's hitting the limiter quite early coming out of the first corner, but I'm sure he'll make it work. Alwyn and the guys there getting that car absolutely dialed in for this round. Fully wet conditions here. He is hitting the limiter quite early, Eddie, isn't he?
He is, Mike. You're absolutely right. But you know what? It's been a good run. Tagging the wall there for Harry Kerr.
Tagging the wall, yeah.
But it wasn't the perfect zone 1 for Harry, so the score is going to be affected by that.
Yeah,
hard to see from our angle what it was like through zone 3.
I wonder if he's down a gear there already over the wet, or if he's going to pull another gear in the dry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike, but look, the score drops in. 1 point between them. Harry Kerr goes into 4th position, 1 place behind Dwayne McKeever with an 88 after our first runs of qualifying. Dylan Garvey sets the bar with a 90. Jack Caldwell in second position with an 89. Dwayne McKeever tied with an 89. And Harry Kerr 1 point behind with an 88.
Eddie, if they were to be on opposite sides of the bracket and met in the final, which happened in Pro 2, like the Pro 2 final a couple of weeks ago, wow, what drama that would be.
Well, you opened up the conversation about the differentiate or the difference in points. If it was to stay the way it is, with 1 point in the difference, that would put, if I have my maths correct, 15 points in the difference between them. They'd be on opposite sides of the bracket, and
correct, yeah.
If they were to go to the final,
it would come down to that run, and then it would be a tie-break if Dwayne won it, and it would come down to results. It would be a dead heat almost.
If it went to the final, we'll come to it, because Kieran Lynch has left the line.
Yeah.
And
he's almost past
the finish line, Mike. We've missed a trick on that one. We're trying to crunch the numbers.
We wouldn't be the best at the maths. Oh, and Kieran Lynch. Well, you know what? Kieran Lynch. He's on a 61.3.
Yeah, he sits in 30th position, Mike, so he's down the order. But he does have... Do you know what? We've had a few people drop out, but the likes of Clark Hatton there sitting outside.
Yeah.
Top 32. Dennis Murphy sits outside. Colin O'Sullivan has an opportunity to... Yeah, there's some big names there ready to go, but you know what? Could be a nervous wait. Mark McKevitt, if he can get his head in the game and get that car going right, as we go back to the line where we will be.
Yeah, Clark Hatton.
It's going to be Clark Hatton for his second run.
He's in 34th here, Eddie. He really has to do something here, and it's difficult conditions for the young man from just above Belfast in the M2 BMW with JZ powered. As you mentioned, Eddie, this car and driver competed in Formula Drift Pro Spec last year, and then deciding to do a year to really get the car dialed in here in IDS, and it's a good entry from Clark.
It's much better this time around, and this time around as well, the track is a little bit more consistent, Mike, because it's fully wet, so he's not going to have the issues that he had on his first run, where he wasn't sure what the conditions were like. They had full wet practice this morning, a little bit of a correction there, draws him onto that inside line, but he gets back on the power, puts it back onto the wide line. It doesn't need to be a huge score, Mike, to get him in. It just needs to be a score that's, better than what it is at the moment, better than that 39.7. The cutoff at the moment is 59. If he could get a 71, he's going to be safe.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that, Eddie. That's for sure, and that is definitely a big improvement on Clark Hatton's first lap.
Look, I think that's going to be in and around a 70, so if not a little bit higher, Mike. So I think we should be safe. 39.7 on the first one, 79.7 on the second one. Big improvement, more like it from Clark Hatton. He goes into 16th position, right there, business end of the, right into the mix, and just showing that he has what he needs to get it done under pressure. As we go back to the start line, where a man who needs to now prove that himself is Colin O'Sullivan.
Yeah,
with that 0 from the first run.
Big trip for Colin O'Sullivan. It's a long way home for Colin. If he doesn't qualify, it definitely would be 7 or 8 minutes home, I guess.
Yeah, look, again, just issues in that first corner on the first run. Maybe just didn't have the heat into those front tyres. Conditions were patchy. Again, difficult for these guys to try and negotiate, despite the amount of experience that he has or may have on this circuit. But I think Colin O'Sullivan has what it takes to get it done here. Again, it doesn't need to be a huge score. It just needs to be, a modest 70, which he's more than capable of pulling out of the bag. Will we see him do it, though? Well, we're about to find out. As pops and bangs from the back of that S14 as Colin O'Sullivan gets ready for his second run. Nice little weight transfer, bit more tentative this time around. Gets on that wide line. This is shaping up to be nice here from Colin O'Sullivan. He can keep it going. Even in the wet conditions, Mike, so easy to build up speed through that back straight as he gets it back onto that wide line. You can see the front of the car just pulling inside as they throw the car on angle through that second U-turn or third outer zone on the circuit.
It's so important to get it through the last transition there already. Just as you get into the horseshoe here in front of us, it's so important to line the car up for that outside line early. Colin there doing a good job of that. But you know what, there are so much as he does a 360 off camera and almost goes off track, but pulls it off a beautiful 360 entry just off camera there into the corner after the line for Colin O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I think it's going to be enough. 78.3 on the board as well. Sorry, Mike, you were going to say.
There's such an elevation change here. It's a little bit hard to see on the live stream, but there's such a huge elevation change as drivers come back uphill. It tends to mess up their line quite a lot.
In a space of, say, I think it's like 50 to 100 meters, there's about a 2-story elevation change, so it is quite dramatic. And a lot of drivers just not letting the car wash wide enough coming into that second hairpin.
2 stories or 5 Eddie and Mikes.
5 in Mikes.
5 Mikes.
5 Mikes.
Eddies.
6 Eddies probably.
6 Eddies.
So Conor Duggan gets ready for his second run of qualifying. It's a 73.3 from his first attempt.
Yeah, 23rd position so far. I think he's going to be safe, Eddie, but again, you're setting yourself up for quite a difficult battle.
Look, I think with fully wet conditions here, I think Conor Duggan has what it takes to put in a score in and around the 80s. Wipers on, so maybe some drops of rain. Hard to tell from where we are, Mike, if the rain is past us, but with the wipers on, probably some drops of rain out there. What can Conor Duggan do here on his second pass? Oh, big angle into that first section, and really nice. Fills that zone beautifully. Oh, the nose just tries to go from him there, but manages to make the correction. Gets back on the power. Lovely through the first couple of sections here from Conor Duggan. Yeah, as he makes the big pull up the hill here now.
The responsive cars, Eddie, and the naturally aspirated cars, your V8s and your sharp straight 6 BMW, seeming to have an advantage up here.
Yeah, certainly do, and you can just see him modulating that throttle just ever so, just so nicely, so well controlled. And we said Conor Duggan had what it takes to put in a score in the 80s, Mike. I think that's going to be right up there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Eddie. Good score there from Conor Duggan, improving all the time there, the CDM Sport guy. And every time we see him out there, he's looking a little bit better in that car. Eddie, he's looking very good, in fact.
Yeah, because he's jumped into second position with an 89.7 for Pro 2 driver Conor Duggan. Wow, what about that? I said he had it in the locker, and he went and proved it. That's exactly what we want to see from the drivers, proving that we know a thing or two about a thing or two, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, Eddie, absolutely. So, speaking of Pro 2 drivers, we've got another one on the line who came up from the championship to compete here in the final round. As you mentioned, maybe a bit of a collision there in practice, missing a bit of body work on the PS13 here of the Ballincollig County Cork man, Marcus Heinen of Village Tire, self-sponsored, son of Marcus Heinen as well, by the way.
Marcus Heinen Jr.
Yeah, Marcus Heinen Jr., exactly. And Marcus Heinen Jr. is an up-and-coming driver in our championship here and looking better every round. Drops a wheel there, Eddie. Full commitment in from Marcus. Won't be a big deduction for a one wheel drop there. And
look, I think the judges will like the commitment as well, Mike, because you got to be brave to go that wide. This track is quite daunting, and it looks relatively easy, but the runoff is very slight, and you can have quite a big off by pushing too hard. And again, Marcus Heinen tags the wall there just about as he comes underneath the judging tower. These Pro 2 drivers, Mike, you know what, there's something else. And Marcus Heinen, it may have only been a 61.3. It's going to be a lot higher on the second run. Yeah, and I mean a lot higher.
If you're watching from home, guys, get in the comments as well on YouTube, number one. But number two, these are our Pro 2 drivers. Like, this is the backup class.
Reverse championship order. It was an 86, I believe, dead for Marcus Heinen. Jumps into 9th position. So we've got 2 Pro-Am drivers already sitting inside the top 10.
Top 10, absolutely.
One of them's in second position, currently out-qualifying championship leaders Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, right in the middle of Dylan Garvey, Jack Caldwell, Dwayne McKeever and Harry Kerr and Kuba. So, I mean, that's good company to be keeping.
And we've got another Pro 2, and he's a Pro 2 junior. He's a short king like yourself and myself, Mike, and a guy that, you know what, I'm a big fan of. Really like the car, really like the driver. Such a nice young man. Real credit to his family and his sponsors. And put him behind the wheel. What is he, 13, 14 years old, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very young man.
He's 16.
16, in fact. We're
we're taking years off him.
We're doing it to ourselves. As well,
he won't mind that in a few years' time, but right now it might matter to him. But look at this again, another young driver putting in a solid qualifying run here in the Pro class at the final of the 2025 Lucky Day Competitions Irish Drift Series. And Jamie Hines filling that zone, takes it right out to the wall. Very brave from the young man as he just modulates that throttle so nicely and gets himself across the line. Again, Mike, expecting to see a big improvement in the score here.
Yeah, definitely an improvement for young Jamie there. Jamie Hines, and as you said, Eddie, big driver for the future.
Yeah,
and
jumps into 13th position with an 83 dead. So 83 dead for Jamie Hines. And he is safe for top 32 action later on the grippy tyres this weekend as well.
As Matt Dern has to reverse there doing his burnout, hope that doesn't put him off. But he's got enough experience, Eddie. He's been on the podium in Pro 2 recently.
Reverse burnouts to warm the front tyres, isn't that it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, you know, Eddie, all jokes aside, you do have to warm the fronts if you can as well, scrub them in because...
nearly more important in these conditions, Mike, to have heat in those front tyres, particularly with the first corner that awaits the drivers. You certainly don't want that nose understeering through the first corner.
Absolutely,
as Matt Dern on that 59 from his first attempt. Nice little weight transfer and a little flick into that first zone. A little bit late to get into it, but fills it nicely. Drops in and out of it, but again, it's certainly shaping up to be an improvement on the first attempt. If you can keep this going, dials on big angle and just drops out of that third outer zone, Mike.
Yeah, there's
a little bit of inexperience, maybe just.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be so difficult there to be consistent just as they enter zone 3.
I know from experience of driving this track at practice days, you can feel like you're not scrubbing the speed quick enough, and the tendency can be to try and slow the car down a little bit more than what you actually need to, because the elevation will actually slow you down as well.
Absolutely,
so
it'll hook the rear up a lot.
It certainly will. So maybe Matt just not letting it wash enough. Will it be an improvement on that 59? It's an 81, so it's a huge improvement. And you see our Pro 2 drivers really putting it up to the pros here.
Absolutely.
17th position for Matt Derrin. He'll be absolutely thrilled because he's safe for top 32 action. Now, another man who is safe for that action is the man that you said maybe having a misfire underneath the bonnet of his GTR 86.
Yeah, GT 86 with a GR 86 front end. So self-christened by Luke there as a GTR 86, catchy name. Not sure if he had a misfire already. It just didn't sound like it was fully clear passing us here. It just sounded like it might be just the noise of the rev limiter. We'll have a listen again. But Luke Talley, the last of our Pro 2 drivers to go through now. And as you said, Eddie, good result in Drift Pro across the pond recently, and a driver up and coming as well.
Yeah, and he's had a win here in the Pro 2 class in the Irish Drift Series this season already. And look at the line here from Luke Talley. I mean, he's really improving every time he comes out.
Just gets bogged a bit.
Yeah,
there,
he does. Yeah,
and can't quite make it to zone 2 then. So
no, it's not going to be an improvement on that 76. He's going to be down the order. And he's going to be left with a difficult battle in the top 32, Mike. But he will be out for battle action later on this afternoon. And of course, delighted to say he'll be using his services at 4 o'clock in the morning from Dublin Airport tomorrow, as I drop off my car and leave the rainy hills of Kerry for the sunny islands of Greece.
not jealous, Eddie.
Not at all, Mike.
Not jealous at all. Not jealous at all. But yeah, the car sounding maybe, I'm not sure if it's just the noise it makes, but it sounds a little bit rough there, and almost feels rough as it passes in the tower. The sound waves make a lot of vibration there on our feet in the tower, so not sure if he has an issue, but definitely getting a score on the board.
Yeah, 66, no improvement though. We go back to the start line. Well, when it came out the first time, John McCarthy topped qualifying with that 81. He now sees himself down the order in 18th position, such as the quality of the scoring that has come true. But it is great to see one of the McCarthy brothers back on the grid.
Drifting since 2005 or 6, Eddie?
Yeah, long break from the sport, but as we said, no ring rust, Mike, no cobwebs, straight in onto the those deep, wide qualifying lines. Brand new build, incredible K24 turbo underneath the bonnet, but just gets it wrong there, and that's going to really hurt the score.
Yeah,
way off. He'll probably back out of the run maybe here.
Well, Eddie, it's a new car, number one, and it's a very different chassis, as you can see. It's an extremely wide Mark II Escort, which wouldn't look out of place in the background here in the forestry, doing a rally, maybe a little bit wider than your typical rally car, but putting out a lot of grip. Big problem there though for John McCarthy, shutting it down. New build Honda turbo K24.
It is still yellow though, crucially.
It is yellow.
Yeah, important. It's an important factor.
Always in a yellow car, ever and always. Usually BMW, to be fair.
Yeah.
But Mark II Escort power with Honda turbo K24 power.
Could
K20
we
head.
see a return of both McCarthy brothers?
Oh, I would love to see Paul back. Paul was my bogey draw. I could never beat Paul. I could never beat.
There was a lot of people couldn't beat Paul
Yeah,
McCarthy.
there
In
was.
fairness, we called him the Giant Killer.
I thought you were going to say there was a lot of people that you couldn't beat, Mike.
Well, I just look. I wouldn't want to be rude,
the
Mike.
truth.
I would. Yeah. But
yeah,
we've got a lot of brother rivalries on the grid, but we'll come to those later on. Mark McKevitt leaves the line. He's got it all to do. He scored a 13. That's not his driver number. That's not his order number. 13.
Oh, it's better for Mark McKevitt.
It is better.
Oh,
just comes out of it though. Comes out of it a bit too early there, Mike. And first time driving this circuit, I believe, for McKevitt. Not sure he's made the spin down here before. And it's a tricky circuit. It becomes easy a lot easier once you get the hang of the way where and when to be on and off throttle.
Yeah.
It's
I will say, Eddie, it's
there's elevation changes, but there's also just dips and dives and on and off camber bits because of the way the tarmac is laid, and it can be tricky to get your head around.
It's a complete muscle memory circuit, Eddie. You just have to have it dialed in subconsciously when to brake, when to hit the throttle, and just preempt the elevation changes and the grip changes a little bit earlier than you can't be reactive in this. You have to be proactive on this track, I think.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mark McKevitt, it's not going to be enough to get him into the top 32. 36th position with a 49 on his second run. But you know what? I think he'll put it down to a good first year behind the wheel of that car. Good year testing. He'll have learnt a lot, and he'll go away with some things to work on in the off season and come back stronger in 2026. Back on the start line, and the man back behind the wheel of his own car, Alan O'Loughlin, as we say, a regular title contender in the last number of years. Mike did have to borrow cars this year, so he hasn't been comfortable behind the wheel, or as comfortable as he'd like to be, but he's back behind his old trusty steed here and looking very confident and comfortable once again, regardless of the conditions. Alan O'Loughlin coming for it here, and again with no championship concerns this year. He's here for fun, and some of those top guys will be looking to avoid the Clandy Culture driver.
Yeah, you want to avoid Alan O'Loughlin in the battles if at all possible. He's a really good battle driver, and yeah, maybe not having the perfect year with, you know, as you said, Eddie, borrowing cars and his own car issues and only getting it out for the last round. But you know, he's back in his own car. He took a big result here a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. And yeah, fully capable of putting in a big score, but not a big one there on his second one for Alan O'Loughlin, Ed. So Alan O'Loughlin was sitting, if we can find him on the board, Eddie.
Yeah, he's sitting in 5th position, Mike, with an 88, so big improvement on the first run.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was an 88. Sorry, wrong score on screen there. So an 88. I thought it was a better run than that what I saw on screen. I was wondering with that one, but yeah, 88 for Alan O'Loughlin. And Kieran Casey, a man capable of getting an 88 and above in one of the best looking cars on the grid.
Love this thing. Absolutely love this car.
Yeah, what a fantastic thing. 800 brake horsepower, beautiful, beautiful simple design as well, and just lovely colorways as well. The kind of dark, the rich blue and black there, just beautifully styled car. And Kieran Casey looking better every round. Doesn't drive it with much respect though, Eddie.
Well, I'm watching this run here with a close eye, Mike. It's hard to see from our camera angle how good that was through that third outer zone, but it was pretty perfect leading up to that. It's been pretty good, but he's come off that deep line. He's coming in and out of it here, takes it to the wall. Yeah, it's just not finishing the way it started here for Kieran Casey. Could see an improvement on the score, mind you, but yeah, that was looking really good in the early stages, but just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah, once again, guys, we are set for dry battles this afternoon, according to the forecast, in this championship showdown final for IDS 2025. But you know what, Eddie, it is difficult in qualifying at the moment.
Yeah, score drops in for Kieran Casey. 85 puts him 12th, just behind Fionn Roach, so it was a good run. But just goes to show, Mike, started to come off the line a little bit, the qualifying line a little bit in the latter stages of that run, just how good that run could have been had he maintained it. As we go back to the start line where Christopher O'Callaghan, the rally driver, just finishes warming his tyres and
want
gets
to
ready.
Finish stronger, Eddie, than this. You know, he's got it in the locker. We all know that he's very accomplished in his own sport, but he'd want to finish strong here, Eddie. And you know, is the bit of turbo lag that he'll have in an SR20, is it going to come into play here with the patchy conditions? Let's see.
Yeah, flirting with the with the outer line on that entry, and gets it much better this time around. Now, can he just let it wash? He can, and stays in it nicely. This is shaping up to be a good run here from Christopher O'Callaghan as he makes the necessary adjustments. Of course, the conditions quite difficult on his first pass of the circuit, but just going to show, Mike, first season ever competing in drifting, really starting to get to grips with it, showing that he has the ability. Drops a couple of wheels, goes a bit deep as he comes down the hill, and just kind of maybe the gravity just kind of takes hold. But certainly a very strong run from Christopher O'Callaghan.
Damn gravity.
But
you know what, Ed, it didn't actually sound that laggy there going across the circuit, but that was a great lap from Chris Callaghan up to the finish there where he dropped the wheel significantly. But up to that point, Eddie, really impressive stuff. Bang on line, using the engine nicely, using the grip available to him nicely, and yeah, getting a good score for it.
Yeah, an 84.3, so jumps into 13th position, so he's right in the mix, and leaves Jason McInerney now sitting on the drop line with a 68.7, so 68 the score to beat to try and get into those top 32 spots if you're sitting outside it. Davin Lee, he sits on the line with an 81.3. He's not going to have any concerns about that. His only concern is going to be trying to get himself as high up that order as he can. He leaves the line and prepares himself for quite a tentative but well-controlled initiation into that first zone. Does the track look to be starting to dry up a little bit again, Mike? It looks starting to see patches of
tyre smoke appearing.
Yeah, and then puddles, and yeah, that tyre smoke appearing as he comes through outer zone 3. Davin Lee, incredible talent. This car, I mean, some of the best photos you're ever going to see with the way on a hot day lights up the rear tyres, quite literally into flames. Full angle. Look at the angle that he's able to maintain through that keyhole section.
Yeah, Jack Shanahan looking after this car now, I believe, and like you said, Eddie, a great showman. Devon Lee, top driver, putting on a great show at the Red Bull Drift Pursuit event there at Spike Island, and fantastic photos of the rear tires literally on fire. So a score does drop in,
and it's a big one, Mike. Davin Lee, he goes into first position with a 90.7, outdoing Dylan Garvey by 0.7. And he is the man to beat. Top spot for Davin Leahy. What a way to finish qualifying at the final round. As we go back to the start line where Adam Kelly gets ready for his second pass of the circuit. He sits on a 67. Just flirting with the outer zone there. Able to get one wheel into it. Would have liked to be a little bit deeper, but he's inside it, and that's the main thing. On a good line here. Again, just can't find that, the full extremes of the circuit here.
It's better from him though this time, Eddie.
It's much better, Mike. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
much steadier,
Watford.
more consistent, very fluid throughout the circuit. No real corrections. You just see him just adjusting that angle nicely as he comes by in front of the judges' tower. And then this is where he's going to need to be tricky, or need to be careful that he doesn't let the gravitational pull that big boat of an R33 Skyline down that hill for him.
You got to watch for the gravity, Ed.
You got to watch for the gravity.
It's yeah. You got to keep an eye.
And it's a big score for Adam Kelly. An 87 sees him 10th position for the moment. He's going to be absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah, pretty high scoring, Eddie. Actually,
yeah,
87 is only good enough for 10th position. So despite the tricky
but
conditions,
it just shows, Mike, just
track.
how well these drivers are able to adapt to those conditions.
Yeah, definitely. A very technical track, as you can see, and very tricky conditions, as you can also see, as we get our cones put back on track there, and just making sure that the drivers are ready to rock from our start line marshal. Everything good to go, and Nicky Davey is just being checked out here, up to the line, looking for a little bit more run in there. I think Nicky Davey was, even though it's quite wet. But the Davey Daddy here, the head of the spear of a family drifting 3 cars at once. His son Jake taking the Pro 2 Championship just a couple of weeks ago on Watergrass Hill. Super talented driver, and Nicky doing it for the family here in the Pro class today in Dean, the other son's car, in Dean's car, I believe.
Yeah, nice to have the option of multiple cars, but what a talented family, and as you say, Dean and Jake, 2 incredible talents, but Nicky be trying to do his best to shine some spotlight on himself and attention on himself this weekend, and maybe take the attention off the youngsters. Doing a really good job of it as well. A 78 on that first run. I think this is going to be similar enough, maybe a little bit higher. Will it get him up the order a little bit? I think it might just do, as we wait to see where he drops in. And it is an 83.3, so it is a slight improvement on that 78 from the first run. 17th position for Nicky Davey, and it means Darryl Barnett now has dropped into the 32nd position, and 69 the score to beat if you're outside that top 32. Well, a man that doesn't need to worry about it, but a man that has been dropped down the order quite substantially since we saw him last. Sean Watt, an 83 on his first pass of the circuit. He'll be looking for a little bit more out of that trusty E36 this time around. What can he do as he gets ready for his second run?
Yeah, 20th position so far for Sean Watt in the M3 BMW. And again, Sean Watt will be a driver praying for rain. This car is a potent weapon in wet conditions, but it does run out of legs a little bit, Eddie, being one of the lesser powered cars on the grid when the track can dry up, especially the likes of here in Kerry in 360, where you have a big uphill section with an outside line. And as we see here now, Sean just ending up on the inside line, has to adjust as he passes us here on the tower. And I don't think it's going to be improvement, Eddie. It's a little bit sketchy on the second one for Sean. There are lots of mistakes.
Yeah, I think the second half of the run has just started to kind of fall away for Sean. You say mistakes, Mike? Yeah, look, so I wouldn't say. I think just the machinery just maybe potentially stopping him from really showing what he's capable of. But maybe some early transitions, not letting the car wash as long as he should. So yeah, we'll call them mistakes.
Yeah, not an improvement there, Eddie, anyway. So
no.
Adrian Wheatley, as you mentioned, our only pro female competitor. I think there's a couple coming up through semi-pro that might be joining her in the coming years by the looks of things. But Adrian Wheatley with the beautiful S13 there, the Candy Culture era, the Cork woman, such a long time competitor, and was in the Pro 2 class for many years, and has been competing, a fan favourite as well as Adrian, one of the nicest people you can meet. So great to see her in the Pro class. And she's sitting, she's kind of she's settling into the Pro class here. She's on an 81 so far. That's a very respectable score considering the conditions. Similar to her first lap, actually. She's out now in again here, and great score so far, and she's looking good here. She's bang on line.
Yeah, her line driving this year has been pretty on point, Mike, and she's certainly shown that she is more than capable of putting it up to all the boys in the Pro class, and once again showing really strong.
Eddie, this is a huge lap.
This is really good from Adrian.
Eddie, this is a huge lap. I'm not I'm not. It's just okay. She's gone a tiny bit wide there.
He's dropping a couple of wheels there, Mike. But who isn't? Who
yeah.
isn't? And
That's a
rookie
huge
pro
lap from
season here
Adrian.
for Adrian, and I think
maybe not huge impact, but it's like technically so good. And
well, judges liking it as well, Mike. Score drops in. It's an 85 for Adrian. It's only good enough for 16th position, so
Yeah.
that just goes to show how tight it is. So many drivers scoring in the 80s here.
Yeah, well, Dennis Murphy, the superstar, the arrive and drive superstar from County Cork, good buddy of mine, absolutely mad as a
Bag of spiders.
A bag of spiders outside of the car, mad as a bag of spiders behind the wheel as well, so just generally mad is Dennis Murphy. And listen to him abuse the Jay-Z in the Bandit Drifters S13 owned by James Dolan, put up for Dennis to drive. They're living the dream, basically.
Living the dream, yeah. Needs
arriving by helicopter and just driving the car.
Yeah, needs better than a 69 to have any hopes of getting into the top 32. More than capable of finding that score. And
just bops the throttle there. A bit of an adjustment there on the transition, Eddie.
Yeah, and you can
after
just
leaving
see
him offline here big time. He could be in trouble here to qualify.
Yeah, you can just see how the difference of a couple of feet there on that transition, Mike, made a huge impact to that third full outer zone.
Yeah,
and
I liked it up to that point, Eddie.
It was looking really good up until then. Yeah.
Yeah, so 0 for Dennis on the first one, and it's just a 70 for Dennis, which leaves him, Eddie, interestingly enough, in
32nd position. He needed a 70 and he got it. But the problem is now, Jason McInerney, Darrell Barnett still have an opportunity to go once more. Owen Magner sits outside the top 32. He'll be going again.
Yeah.
And
be a long wait for Dennis Murphy.
Going to be a long wait, is right, Mike.
In the Lions coming up in 31st position as well, and still to run though is in the Lions, followed by Paulius Judicious in 30th.
Well, we mentioned Owen Magner, and as being yet to run, he's about to run right now. 64.7, needs a 70 to be or better to be in the show.
Yeah, big things on the line here for Owen Magner. Really wants to cement his place in this pro class. Fully capable of doing it, as we know. Fantastic chase driver, super aggressive, looking better this time. He's got a good mentality. He's a big GEA man as well, actually, and he's right in the midst of the Shanahans and Deans there down in Kilflynn, County Cork, in the golden veil of Irish drifting. Maybe not a perfect lap so far for Owen. I do think it's better so far. Dials on a lot of angle there. Does he hold it? He's got a lot of angle. He does manage to make it work. No big adjustment, I guess. So just got away with the big transition there. Ed.
Yeah, it's definitely better than a 70. That's the key here. It's much better than a 70. Look, no championships up for grabs here for Owen Magner, but what there really is up for grabs is the motivation to keep going for next year, because he's had such a torrid year that he's going to need that inspiration to, in the off season. It's an 81, puts him right up the order into 24th position, so he's safe for battle action. He's going to have a tough battle in the top 32, but he's, it'll be more so the person that he's up against will be looking at it as a nightmare top 32 battle, to be coming up against someone of his ability.
Yeah.
As we turn our attentions back to the start line, where Jason McInerney now warms his tyres. He's on a 68, so he's outside the top 32. End of lines now sits in 32nd position on a 72.3, so that's the score that we need to see or better from Jason McInerney. End of lines does have a second run though as well.
He does indeed, yeah. Jason McInerney, he's better than his first qualifying score. We've watched this guy come up. We've watched him take the rookie championship in Pro 2, and we've watched him put in some absolutely inch-perfect laps. Oh, and it just shuts down for him. Possibly car issues. Jason McInerney, I don't know, Eddie, that's a huge mistake. He's going to be under big pressure just to qualify now if everything else is perfect at this stage.
It's a mistake, Mike, but see how quickly he was able to react to it, able to adapt and just keep that car, avoided a big straighten. So it's a small straighten, definitely going to hurt the score. Now he's starting to fall out of the zone, so going to be bleeding a little bit more out of it. So this is where now that straighten becomes a problem, because the judges will be looking at it going, was it the most chaseable lead run?
I think it's going to be too many mistakes, Eddie. I can't see it.
I think you're right, Mike.
Qualifying in this company.
Yeah, score drops in. It's no improvement on the first run, Mike, and he is out.
Yeah, it's a 61 for Jason McInerney, and he's out of competition. Unusual for Jason, usually inch-perfect qualifying driver, but sometimes that's how it goes. I know he had some suspension issues in that car. Not sure if he sorted them or not before this round, but yeah, he'll be back next year better than ever, I'm sure, with a fresh build on that E36. But we move it along to the Falcon.
Yes, can he fly high here in 360 Motorsport Park? He'll certainly be hoping to do so as he looks to spread his wings. It is Johnny Flynn, the former Pro 2 champion.
Eddie, just stop. I'm only joking. Keep going. I love it. Johnny Flynn, Johnny the Falcon Flynn. He's flying it, Eddie.
He's flying it, yep. Here we go. The bird of prey right at home here in the forests of Kerry. Yeah, look, again, really difficult out there at the moment. Johnny on that 79.3 on his first run. It was a really strong run, so it was, from the Mayo man.
Will he get up the pecking order, Eddie?
Oh, he may just do, Mike, get up the pecking order. He'll be certainly looking to do so as he takes it nice and deep out towards the wall as he comes past the judge's tower. Really nice run, just feathering that throttle.
Well, he might ruffle a few feathers, Eddie. We'll stop.
We'll stop, Mike, we'll stop.
No. You said he feathered the throttle. I think that you didn't even mean that one, did you?
No.
You said he feathered the
no,
throttle.
that was a non-intended
The
move.
Falcon feathered the throttle. We
Well,
better get back to
he
business,
bumps
Eddie.
up the score. Look at this. Johnny Flynn with an absolute stomper goes into 7th position with an 88. You know what? We've spoken so many times about Johnny's ability and that he has it there in the locker. He just needs to draw on it more often. Well, he's on form today and he's hooking up with this circuit here in Kerry very nicely as we go back to Paulius Geodicious on the line for his second run. 74.7 on his first attempt. The wiper is in full swing here as he tests the ability of that wiper motor. Big angle. Can he hold it? He certainly can. Look at the line here from Paulius Judicious. This is going to be big, Mike, if he can stay on that wide line through the rest of the run, because the entry was absolutely fantastic from the man behind TH Components in Navan in County Meath.
Yeah, doing the usual thing there that drivers do. They just drop a little bit shallow on the entry to the second hairpin there. But overall, very, very good, as you say, Eddie, here from Paulius. Judicious passes us here in the tower. Just adjust a tiny bit as he comes up to the wall, just to keep himself out of the wall there. Avoids the wall tag. But overall, Eddie, that's a great lap from Paulius.
That's a really strong run. An absolute stomper, as they would say. So here we go. Will it be an improvement on the 74.7? I think it's got to be, Mike. It's got to be an improvement.
Yeah, I would agree, Ed. I would agree. It's an 84.7, Eddie.
It's an 84.7, so it is an improvement, and it's only enough for 18th position. So look at the amount of drivers we have scoring in the 80s.
Yeah, it is very, very impressive. That is for sure. Now, a man on the line in his BMW. Currently not qualifying. He's in 34th position after making the long trip down from Northern Ireland. It's Daryl Barnett in the E46 with the 1JZ power. A super experienced driver. I often drove against this guy myself, and he's in the pro class a long time, Eddie. He's currently in 34th position. Does he rely on that experience right now, Eddie, to get him in?
Yeah, he's going to have to, Mike. He has so much of it, and we speak about it so often. And you know, the thing about it is that the sport has moved on so much since Darrell was really showing, you know, how competitive he can be and winning championships and, you know, being a regular on the podium. But you know, he's also in a very competitive pro class, but he's showing right now exactly what he's capable of. And a lot of these Northern Irish drivers would have, you know, cut their teeth in wet conditions on wet ovals, so he'd be feeling right at home here in Kerry in these conditions, and it's showing right now as he absolutely nails the circuit. Another big score incoming here, I feel, for Daryl Barnett, and I can see him bumping himself right up the order. It's going to be right up there towards the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And it's an 87.3, puts him into, well, it's tied. There's a lot of tied scores here, guys.
There's
so
3 ties on
yeah,
87.3. Yeah, so joint 9th position so far, and of course we will sort them out with their second score. So a great run there from Daryl Barnett. Gets himself into the show. In the Lions drops out into 33rd position, but was still to run. Luke Talley now sits in 32nd position, who has done his second run. So nervous times for Luke Talley. In the Lions can still knock him out of competition here.
Yeah, now Dylan Garvey sits on the line. He's only got a 90 from his first run, so he'll have to be pushing hard here, Mike.
Yeah, bad score from Dylan on his first one, sitting in second position. We said, Eddie, he's the wild card. He's the super talented ex-Drift Masters driver, and the brother, of course, of David, who will be running next, and a great driver behind the wheel and a great line. Look at this. No such waivers as such from Dylan. Well, it does come in a little bit on the inside as well. They're small bit. It's super tough section right there. Even catching up the best of the best here with Dylan Garvey. But you know what, Eddie? We said it. We said that this is the guy who might upset this championship. This is the guy who could put out Harry, who could put out Dwayne. And who's going to bet against him with the way he's driving? Yeah,
I mean, look, if we're having conversations about, you know, a final between Harry and Dwayne, well, Dylan Garvey he's competed at one round and he's won it, and he won't be entertaining any such conversations. And I think, we can talk about this championship coming down to the wire. He's going to have a huge part to play in it. Not able to top his first score, 89.7. We talk about consistency in this sport so often, Mike. If you can put in back-to-back scores of consistency, it just shows that you're on form and that you're comfortable, that you have that muscle memory. But he leaves the door open here for his brother David Garvey to try and, take him down, top that qualifying board. 79.3. He's got to have to pull up his socks if he wants to get in the 90s.
I'll give you a scenario here, Eddie. If in the Lions out qualifies David Garvey and David doesn't improve in this lap, things stay the way they are, he'll be facing off against Dylan Garvey in competition because he'll be in 31st position. So that's quite a possibility. But let's see. He's looking a bit better this time, though, Eddie. I think he's going to jump up a little bit.
Yeah, certainly going to put himself up the pecking order, and we may have to wait a little bit longer to see the battle of the Garvey brothers. Really nice line here from David Garvey.
That's far better from David that time. Still not a bad score from Dave with a 79, but I mean the cut-off point, Eddie, is 76.7 at the moment, so that's definitely improvement from Dave.
Yeah, it's an 86.7, so bumps himself right up the order and gets himself a little bit more within touching distance of his brother as we turn our attentions back to the start line where Fionn Roach sits on an 85.3. You can just see him trying to get as much heat into those front tyres as possible. Very experienced competitors, competed at the highest level in Drift Masters, and again a driver who will be looking to steal the limelight, finish off the season and get himself ready, a little bit of preparation for the final round of the Drift Masters Championship next weekend, I believe.
So guys, we will have a track walk as well if you are here in person, and if you are watching on YouTube as well, we will have a track walk with some interviews with the drivers as well after qualifying, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, now if you are watching on YouTube, you won't be able to walk the track, but you will be able to watch it, so here we go. Oh, drop of a wheel there from Fionn Roach. He keeps in it, Mike, manages to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. Fionn Roach, a guy, gaining experience so fast because he's competing in 2 championships here simultaneously, Eddie. And of course, when you've been on the massive stage that Drift Masters is at the moment, it helps with the mentality so much. I guess you're not as nervous at the Irish events then. And Fionn Roach looking very, very good here as he hits the limiter right underneath us here in the tower in the end.
For Fionn Roach.
Well, here we are, Eddie. It is the last man, I believe, who can upset the order here a little bit in terms of the drop zone. Luke Talley sits in 32nd position. In the Lions on the line sits in 33rd position. The Galway man not qualifying currently here, Eddie, and he, it's going to be in his head. He probably knows that he's in 33rd. How hard is the mentality? How hard do you have to be here mentally to get through this?
I think it's really tricky here because, Mike, not only are you outside the top 32, conditions aren't perfect, and the score, while it's not high, you can't just kind of take it easy. You've got to aim for a score in the 80s to try and hope that if it's not in the 80s, it's still better than a 76. So there's no real comfort zone, but I think it's almost good in a way as well, friend, because he just knows he's got to go out and push it, and you're better off going down trying by pushing hard than maybe not pushing us, maybe by backing off and missing out that way. So I think it's just a matter of just going for it and see what happens, hope for the best. Looks like it's going to be a good run. Could be close. Great
run there for Inda, except for zone 3 there on the second corner. He came very much on the inside of the track there, and apart from that though, great run.
I think it's going to be enough here, Mike. I think so, yeah. I think it's going to be, unfortunately, the end of the weekend for Luke Talley. It is an 88 for Enda Lions. Jumps himself into the top 32 as we go.
Heartbreak for the Pro 2 driver Luke Talley.
It is, yeah.
Is the worst.
Absolutely. And, just slightly outdone by Colin O'Sullivan, who now sits in that drop zone, but he'll be safe as there's no one else outside it left to run. So Ben Rogers now sits on the line. Shout out to the family, Father Gordon, brother Jack, who's a big fan.
Yeah, great family in Irish drifting as well in the past few years.
Yeah, very helpful to anybody on the grid, but particularly to me in the recent events. This isn't good.
I heard a terrible transmission noise there, to be honest. Something not quite meshing with what it was supposed to there for Ben Rogers, and hopefully it's just a missed gear or something. But I don't know. Something sounded like it exploded there, I think. Might be just a diff. I'm not sure if Ben, I think Ben is he still he's not running like a quick change rear end or anything?
He is, yeah.
Is he, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd imagine that it wouldn't be the rear end. They're quite strong, even though Dylan Garvey was down to us in Group D for half shafts yesterday. We got him some white slab half shafts, but they are generally indestructible.
Yeah, you'd assume not a half shaft, given the
Sounds gearboxy.
Yeah.
Sound the gearboxy.
Just
is that a word?
Is it patchy? It's hard to see from where we are right now if it's gone patchy. If it was patchy just on that section of the circuit, but yeah, look, we'll find out and we'll fill you in what exactly it is that's gone wrong. Important to note that he's already safe. He's sitting in 15th position, so he will be in battle action later on if they can get whatever is wrong with that car sorted in time, but they will have some time to get it sorted as well. So.
Yeah, Jack Mawhinney on the line in the turbo-powered BMW, of course. Using a lot of borrowed cars this year, but back in his own machine. And a man, as you well know, Eddie, he sets this car up quite soft as well. I think it's going to suit the conditions that we currently have. And a man well capable of taking down the best in the business, because you know what, Eddie? He's one of the best in the business himself, and he's proving it. Look at this beautiful line here as he drags the handbrake, just extends the drift beautifully into the outer zone. No such waivers that we've seen, but yeah, the shots there just dropping out for a second with the drone, but not perfect, I guess. Just coming.
The shot's dropping out as Jack drops a wheel, and yeah, as you say, Mike, just maybe not the perfect run. You know, still pretty good here for Jack Mawhinney. He has that 84.3 to draw on, but it does have him down in 22nd position. And if you're watching online, you can just see the number of scores that we have. 28 of our scores are in the 80s, Mike. That's
crazy.
So 28 drivers separated by 9 points.
Well, Eddie, it's a big score for Jack Mawhinney.
It certainly is. A 90.3 for Jack Mawhinney jumps him into second position. And we've got Davin Leahy on a 90.7, Jack Mawhinney on a 90.3, Dylan Garvey on a 90, and Connor Duggan on an 89.7, with Jack Caldwell in fifth position on an 89 dead.
And look here, Eddie, crucially, Harry Kerr, who is leading this championship and looking to take home this Irish Drift Series championship this evening. He is currently, after getting knocked down to an unusual 10th position here, Eddie.
Yes, with Dwayne McKeever in sixth position, meaning there's a 4-point gap there between the two of them in terms of qualifying points, which is going to make a huge difference should it stay like that. As we turn our attentions back to Jack Caldwell now, who's on an 89. No championship concerns for him, but he will be concerned about where he finishes in qualifying at the final round of the Lucky Day Competition's Irish Drift Series.
Yeah,
currently sits in fifth position and doing a nice job, Mike.
Yeah, the former junior driver. You know, it's very easy to forget with Jack Caldwell that he's still literally, I think, legally a child. He's a teenager. He's a super experienced driver, though. He knows how to win a championship already in Ireland, and every year that we see him, he looks like that a little bit more mature and a little bit more
comes
settled.
from great stock as well. You know, there's a real motorsport family and a lot of experience and knowledge base to draw on. Getting very good guidance, has the machinery to back up the talent. And look at this, Mike, jumps into first position with a 91.3. What about that from young Jack Caldwell?
What a run from Jack, yeah. And you were just speaking about his talent and the stock there. It just goes to show that he lives up to his reputation and puts in the top qualifying score there. As a man comes to the line now, our Pro 2 champion, still reigning, or was reigning Pro 2 champion up to 2 weeks ago, Jakub Krysiak, Kuba as he's better known, one of the great teams of the paddock here, always in huge support of Kuba, and he said he's here to take down the big boys. As you said, Eddie, he almost made it a double last year, which was unprecedented, finished fourth in this championship as a Pro 2 driver, which was absolutely unheard of. Is he going to be able to top qualifying? Can he take down Jack Caldwell? Let's see. Yeah,
well, he's certainly coming for it here. Very nice through the first couple of zones. He needs to just keep it together now as he gets hard on the throttle, just build the momentum to bring himself up that hill and makes that transition nice and early, makes it work as well. Could have been maybe a fraction deeper into that outer zone at the very start of it, but again, does get it there as he comes by the judges' tower, and nicely across the line goes Kuba.
Yeah, the man from Waterford, Polish originally, of course, and one of the great teams of the paddock, and a great driver as well, Eddie, and I think he might have just proven that.
He certainly did, Mike, because a huge score drops in for Kuba. Give it up for the Polish driver. A 93.7 jumps him into first position. And you know what, Mike? We've got a lot of drivers looking to make a name for themselves, and they are making our top 2 championship contenders work for it here this weekend, because right now, Dwayne Dwayne McKeever sits in 7th, Harry Kerr sits in 11th, and Kuba Kuzchak, the contender from last year's championship, sits in 1st with a 93.7, just ahead of Jack Caldwell with a 91.3. But here comes Dean Byrne. Can he put his stamp on qualifying here at the final round?
Well, Eddie, if anybody can, Dean Byrne can. Again, they didn't have the perfect start to the weekend. Mechanical issues in their van on the way down here Friday night. A big issue there got sorted by the lads at Group D, I think, actually. And Dean Byrne is a driver full of style, Eddie, full of angle, full of flair. Does this track suit his driving style? We'll have to see, but you know, he dialed back a little bit of angle compared to his first lap right there in the transition. I think it's after suiting him. He's more settled coming in here right in front of us in the tower, and it's a beautiful line all around the horseshoe here, around the final section of 360. And Dean Byrne crosses the line, top 5 in the championship. I think he might be top 5 in qualifying as well after that one, Eddie. Maybe not quite in the very, very tip top, but it's a great lap style wise at least.
No improvement on the first run, Mike. Another 86. So you know, look, still a very strong run, but it just goes to show it's fine margins here. And you know, the difference between a 93 in first position and 86 is, you know, 15 positions, so it's huge. So Stephen Halford, he sits down the order, 30th position in 80.3. If he stays there, Mike, what a nightmare battle that is, particularly if the conditions are wet for one of our top finishing drivers.
Yeah, you don't want to be meeting Stephen Halford in battle, Eddie. If you qualify highly, you think great, and then your reward is meeting this guy, especially if it's wet, Eddie, as you mentioned. That is a nightmare job. But look, I think he's going to improve. I don't think he had the perfect first lap. Let's see.
Yeah, but again, conditions, are they maybe just starting to dry a little bit? No, it looks to be pretty consistent out there, so you'd imagine Stephen shouldn't have too many difficulties here. Oh, but he does.
He does, yeah. The car hooks up there and makes him completely miss zone 2 there. Doesn't even really get a wheel into it. He's back on line once again into 3 here, but the judges will knock him down at least 10 points there for missing zone 2. So at best here, if he does everything else perfect, he's on a 90, Eddie, and he's not perfect.
No, I'm not sure.
Stephen Halford-esque.
No, I'm not sure there's going to be an improvement. And as you say, conditions might maybe just starting to become a little bit patchy once again out there, and just a nightmare setup wise for the drivers when it's like that. So Stephen Halford is going to probably have to rely on that 80.3 from his first run, and the score is dropping in. It's a 78. So yeah, no improvement for Stephen Halford. He stays where he is. As we get down to the business end of the competition, 3 drivers remain.
Look at the top 5, Eddie, and that top 5 for the moment, like, doesn't even contain Dwayne McKeever or Harry Kerr, but I mean Dylan Garvey, Jack Mawhinney, Devin Leahy, Jack Caldwell, and Jakob Kuzchak.
Well, you got the top 2 that are former Pro 2 drivers from last year. You've got number 6, Connor Duggan, is a Pro 2 driver from this year.
Yeah.
Johnny Flynn and the Lions inside the top 10 that are, you know,
lots of Pro 2 championships in there.
Relatively new to the Pro 2 championship or Pro Championship. We got Ryusei Akiba now on the line. He's ready to put his mark on the championship once more. Very strong start to the championship. Missed a couple of rounds, but he's back here. 83.3. Can he break into the 90s? Wasn't the perfect first zone. He does blow the rear end off the car though, Mike. Such is the style of the Japanese driver as Ryusei comes to light up 360 Motorsport Park here for his final qualifying run of the season. Leaves some bodywork behind as he tries to take it to the wall. I'm not sure this is going to be an improvement on the first run, Mike. It's definitely not going to contend for top spot, but Ryusei Akiba came to play. And again, if he's down the order, what a nightmare. This is going to be an absolutely off-the-wall top 32, Mike, because it's going to be all over the place. Our drivers, I think we could have this championship decided by top 16.
It could be. You wouldn't know, Eddie. I mean, yeah, mention Ryusei Akiba. It's a dream to go to Japan for most of us into this sport, most of us into the car scene. And some people get to do it once in their lives. Some people get to do it multiple times. But for most of us, get there once, it's a dream. Ryusei Akiba comes over and back here all the time. So fantastic.
Yeah, 89. He does jump up the order as we get ready. It is the final 2 drivers. Second in the championship with a 14-point deficit. It is Dwayne McKeever.
Dwayne McKeever, yeah. Eddie, he has to qualify highly here if he wants to give himself a chance of beating Harry Kerr fair and square in the final. Should it end up that way, he has to out-qualify Harry here because he will get the championship points. He wants to have less than 15 points between both of them if they are to meet in the final. Yeah,
exactly. I said 14, I meant 16. So 16 points currently the difference between the two. But Dwayne McKeever, he needs to pull it out of the bag here. Pinpoint accuracy as he takes it to the wall in front of the judges' tower. Just this final section. Look how well he rides the line as he crosses the line. Give it up for the Northern Smoke Machine. Dwayne McKeever. Now, is it enough to top qualifying? Is it enough to beat a 93.7
It's all on the line here, Eddie. It's going to come down. It's going to come down possibly to qualifying, because it could be that the decider, it's so tight at the
And
top.
it's an improvement, but it's only good enough for a 90.7. He goes tied third position.
Yeah, he actually goes into third.
He's going to go into third position over Davin Leahy because of the higher score on the first run.
Yeah.
So it's all down to this man now on your screens, Harry Kerr. If he wants to take this championship, he has to start now. This is huge. It's going to come down potentially, Mike, to 1 point. It could come down to tied points, and then it'll go to podium positions throughout the year. Harry Kerr needs to put in a big run here. He can't bleed too many points to Dwayne McKeever. He's got to find something special. Can he find a 94? That's what he's looking for here.
Yeah,
94 or better for Harry Kerr. He'll top qualifying and take a further point advantage going into the top 32. And right now the Kerminator is hooking it up nicely, Mike.
He is indeed, Eddie. Dragged the handbrake there into zone 3. Perfect entry into that. Nice, Eddie. Oh, almost spins it. Big mistake here from Harry Kerr, Eddie. It's all falling apart at the end.
Yeah, this is huge. This is absolutely huge for the championship, Mike, because Dwayne McKeever has done exactly what he needed to do in qualifying, which is take a points advantage over Harry Kerr. He's closed the gap, and now this is huge, because now if they were to meet in the final, Dwayne McKeever can win by beating Harry Kerr.
He can indeed. Harry Kerr is in 12th position, meaning he just takes a single point from qualifying there, Eddie. Does he improve?
Well, we know he's not going to improve after that huge mistake.
He's in 11th position, Eddie.
Yeah, he's 11th position, well down the order, and that is a huge... I mean, we're going to be back to maybe 4 or 5 points, Mike, between the two going into the top 32. But for now, give it up for our Polish driver, Jakub Kuszczak, topping qualifying with a 93.7, just pipping young Jack Caldwell to the post with a 91.3. Third position was Dwayne McKeever. Fourth was Davin Leahy. Fifth was Jack Mawhinney. Sixth, Dylan Garvey. Connor Duggan in seventh, the Pro 2 driver. The Japanese driver, Ryusei Akiba, in eighth. Enda Lyons in ninth. And the Falcon, Johnny Flynn, in 10th position. And that is our top 10 for qualifying. Tied scores will, of course, be reviewed, and it will go down to the higher of the other scores. But provisionally, that is your top 10. Mike, what an intense qualifying session at the final round.
Yeah, intense qualifying, I would say, on the drivers as well, mentally, especially Harry Kerr there at the end. Possibly, Eddie, did the mental games come into it? I'm not sure. I think Harry Kerr's cool, calm and collected, but you never know what's going on in the driver's mind when this is at stake. I mean, he was thereabouts right here at 360 last year with Alan Hines. Didn't quite make it at that attempt. Dwayne McKeever has the experience. He has the championships under his belt. Harry Kerr, I think, though, is more than capable of doing it, Eddie. And what this qualifying session is after doing, it's after teeing us up for an absolutely epic final. We'll have the battle bracket ready to rock in a couple of minutes' time once Alana sorts it out here, and that will show us where each driver will be sitting. So guys, we will have a track walk where you can get down on track, meet the drivers, check out the cars closely, and we will have a couple of interviews with them as well. So about 20-25 minutes time, and we will see you back live here on YouTube and down on track, guys. Thank you so much.
Would you feel better if I said that this
This is how